Hi, this is Debbie from Organic Oasis in Northern California. Have you ever had trouble with rats in your compost bins? We have. Tomato Tim and I here in our suburban backyard composting, we have had lots and lots of problems. We love composting. We want to be sustainable. We want to use all of our kitchen scraps and garden waste to grow, and to create this wonderful black gold that everyone talks about. Um, and we've had a lot of success with composting and creating our own compost. Our biggest problem, though, is our compost has drawn rats. And in suburbia, it's just a real problem because houses are close together. One house gets rats, the next house gets rats. It can be a whole problem in your neighborhood and in your community. Nobody wants somebody who's drawing rats into their neighborhood. So Tomato Tim and I, we moved from one home to another. In our old house where we first started Organic Oasis, California, we had a tumbler compost bin. That's one of those bins that sits up and you can rotate it. It sits off the ground. We started with one of those. It was not very successful. We didn't get any compost from it. It just took too long. It didn't get it hot enough. We ended up getting rid of that. Then we moved into a smart bag composter, which is basically our grow bags, but just much larger. And you tried to use that for compost. Again, not very successful. It didn't hold a lot of compost. It was really hard to turn the compost, so we moved off of that. We ended up with geo bins. So this is the geo bin, and like I said, it's really great. It has a lot of aeration. It holds a lot of compost. We've been very successful using this. We have two of these. And we really believe this was the secret to our organic garden becoming very successful, growing lots of vegetables, not having a lot of problems with insects and funguses and things like that. Just our garden, once we started composting and using the compost, it just really changed the success of our garden. So we loved it. However, once we moved to this new location, for whatever reason, our new home, we just started getting a lot of rat problems. What happened was the rats will come in. They never nested in this bin, but they nested in the gazebo next to the bin. We spent thousands of dollars trying to create a barrier around the gazebo. They were chewing through the wood, trying to nest underneath it. They wanted a nice, comfortable home to raise their babies near the food supply. So we eventually got the gazebo sealed, and then our neighbors started having issues with rats in their houses and in their yards, and people were poisoning the rats. We ended up finding rats, half dead, half alive in our yard. It just became a huge problem in our neighborhood. So we decided we need to stop the compost and come up with another idea. We ended up just, we're still using up the compost. We haven't put any greens or anything into our compost for a long time, probably 6 months. We started putting all of our kitchen waste into our city compost bins. And Tomato Tim wanted to use one of the geo bins just for coffee and garden waste and like leaves. But the problem is, in our little organic oasis here, we don't have a lot of leaves. We have mostly fruit trees, and we have a lot of native plants. And we just don't have a year-round supply of leaves. We have tried to go out into our neighborhood to collect leaves, but we're not sure what people are using on their trees, if they're spraying anything. We're not sure if it's clean. That's another issue. So we were trying to come up with another solution. I do have a worm compost that I've been using for many, many years. I still love it. It's a 360 worm composter, and I use that, and it's great. And every month I get a small bin of worm compost, and I run around and I stick it in my bags, and it's awesome. But it doesn't create enough compost to use on all of throughout our entire garden yearly. We just don't get enough compost. So I've been trying really hard to come up with other ideas, and I may have a solution, but let me show you what it is. So here's what I'm going to try. I actually bought 2 of these. They're called in-ground worm composters. And I'm going to try these. And so the idea is that you dig a hole, you put this into the hole, you leave this part just so that you have access to this. You unscrew it, and you can put kitchen scraps and things, kitchen waste, coffee grounds, etc., eggshells in here. The worms come in through the holes and they eat it up. Now this one, because there's no bottom to it, if you get compost at all, you're going to have to reach your hand in and try to pull it out. And I think that's not going to really work. I just want a way to use my kitchen green waste. So this, I'm going to actually put it into my strawberry bed. I'm going to dig a hole. I have a raised strawberry bed. I'm going to dig a hole and put this in there and just put kitchen scraps in there and just keep feeding it and hoping it will fertilize my strawberry bed. This one here, it's a different type. It actually has a bottom on it. And so the idea on this one is, again, you bury this, but you keep the lid up. You open it up. You put your compost, your green waste in here. But then you can actually, supposedly, if you want, you can just pull this out and walk around and use the compost that's inside of it from the worms. So I don't know if that's going to work. I'm going to try it. This type came with two different bins. This one came with one bin. They're inexpensive. Well, this one was about $10. This one was a little more expensive. I will link them. The only thing is, I have done a lot of research on this because I'm very passionate about making compost for our organic garden. And it seems that every bin that I find, every compost bin that I find, if I read through all the reviews, I find people complaining that rats got into them. And even these in the ground ones, you dig them in, they're saying the rats have come in, they've chewed through the top, they've chewed through the bottom. Rats, if they want to, they will find a way. They can chew plastic, they can chew wood, they can chew just about everything. So they do find their way in. Most of the compost bins that I looked at that said they were rat proof, people reading the reviews, they said they were not actually rat proof, and rats did get into them. So I'm going to try these mainly because I'm hoping that if I put them around the garden in different places, and I put them where, we are, like where we're spending time in the garden, we're walking around the garden, that the rats would be less likely to come. I'm going to put them in places where my dogs run around. I don't want to put them in the corner of the garden where our geobins are, where the rats really have free reign. They can come in and out. It's pretty quiet over in the corner of the garden. We don't go there frequently. So I know that's a bad thing. It helps, the rats can just come and go as they please. They're not afraid of anything. These bins, I'm going to try to place them strategically in our garden so that, they're going to be more in closer to like where people are and our pets are. So the first place I'm going to put this is in a strawberry bin. I will show you as I dig the hole and I put them in, I will show this to you, and I plan to make some follow-up videos, and I'll let you know if it works, if the rats find them, and what actually happens. Um, the last thing I want to say is we did buy compost from people, from companies. Tim found a company where he found some clean compost. It's quite expensive, but he bought a large bag of it. We really love the idea of turning our own green waste into our own compost. So we also found a community garden, actually 2 or 3 community gardens in our, one is in our city, one's in a neighboring city, and they actually do compost and they give it away for free. And they just ask for donations. And so that's another thing we're looking at. If we really can't keep rats out of our compost bins, we're either going to increase our worm composting, because the rats have at this point, they have no interest in our worm compost. We keep our worm compost in a patio right by our door to our house. So we're always in and out. The dogs are in and out. It's kept the rats away from the worm compost. So we could increase the worm compost if we want. That's an option. But the other option is we just give up our suburban composting, and we start going to our neighborhood community compost gardens that offer composting, and then get our compost and donate to them for their wonderful, generous donations of compost. So I will make other videos, and if you're having the same problem, please leave a post in our comment section and let us know, your frustrations. We can all vent about this. I know lots of people have had this issue. If you found a real solution that seems to work, please post on that. I might try it. But let's tackle these problems together. Having an organic garden and gardening, there's just a lot of like really wonderful things that happen and that come from it. And there's also some real frustrations. And one of these is the rats in our garden. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. Like I said, I will make a few follow-up videos and let you know how this project goes. Thank you. Happy harvesting. Happy growing. Okay, so here is my strawberry bed. And I have this little area. I have one of these, I think it's called it's an Oso. But anyway, it's a container you fill with water and it self-waters. I do have little sprinklers in here. Also, I have drip in here, but on some parts, I didn't think it was getting enough water, so I added one of these. And I think what I'm going to do is I might probably pull this out, move it a little bit over, and then I'm going to put this into this strawberry bed here. Okay, so I hope you can see this. So I have my compost here. I've been saving it up, all of my kitchen scraps and everything. So now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to open it up. Went ahead, this strawberry bed now I put fresh soil on it and some compost on it. This is buried quite deep, but I wanted it that way. And it's just hollow inside now. There's nothing in here. But I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of this. So I've got coffee. I'm going to save these for this brown for the bigger bins. I don't want to put all of the coffee grounds in here right now. Going to put this over to the side. I got some paper towels. I have a lot of lettuce because of my hydroponic system. I got some eggshells. I just crunch them and stick them in there. So this is going to be a nice experiment. More eggshells. I've got a banana peel. The worms love them. So if I've got worms in the bin, they should definitely, the bananas will bring them here. I'm pushing it down hard. I want to save and put a banana peel in every one of these. My worms love banana peels, so I've got some parrot food that my parrot didn't eat. There's a whole peach here. I'm just going to squish it down in here. I have sourdough discard in here. I have all kinds of stuff in here. So this may be a complete rat trap. It may bring the rats full force over here. I'm hoping not, but you never know. But we'll find out. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in here. Okay. So this is not completely filled up, but I have 2 more bins. So I'm not going to fill it up completely because I want to save some of this for the other bins. I'm going to put the lid back on. And let me make sure I got this on nice and secure. And then I think I want it nice and tight on here. And then what I'll probably do is just, I want to make sure this is nice and almost covered up like that. So it's not obvious, even to my dogs, right? So I'll do that. And there we go. Then I know where it is. I can come find it, and I can unscrew it later, and we'll check it out. I've been walking around our yard looking for a good place to bury these type of worm composters, and I'm having some trouble. Mainly we have a lot of plants here. We have a little orchard. We have a big vegetable section. They're all in bags. I have my raised strawberry bed where I put the little white one, and then we have a native garden. And so I'm worried that if I plant, I don't want to plant along the back fence where I know if rats go, they like to stay close to a wall or something. So they do run along the back fence. So I don't want to put any of these over there. I want to keep them out someplace closer to where people are and our pets. So I'm looking for a place, but I have so many plants, and I'm wondering once it's going to be, I want easy access when I'm putting my green waste in. I don't want to have to like go through a forest or jungle to do it. So I found I have a camellia bush here, a tall one, and I used to have a geranium here that I removed. So I'm going to try to put this here. So let's see what happens when I start digging, if I can actually get through the soil and do this. Okay, I think it's time to actually start to try to get on my hands and knees and try to fit that in properly. It looks like this composter is in the place that I want it to be. I dug it in. The only thing coming up is the lid. I need to be able to access this and pull it off like this. So now it's situated in here. It's looking good. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load the composter with all of the greens and browns that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and put in all the coffee grounds, then the coffee filters, and these are all the things that worms love: banana peels, eggshells. I have a lot of sourdough starter. My sourdough starter goes in here. It's kind of sticky and dried up, but it goes in here and the worms love it. So you can see I have a whole pile of different things. I'm going to go ahead and try to put it all in here. I'll fill this whole thing up. The other thing is the bag that I'm using is compostable. So I could technically just put the bag in as well, and it'll compost, it'll break down. So that's what I think I'm going to do. Rather than try to get everything out, I'll just push the bag in too. Going to go ahead and squish it in here. And then I will just basically put this lid back on, and we will follow this and see how it works. And hopefully no rats are going to find it. It will stay rat free, and we'll be able to continue our wonderful composting and making our black gold for our garden. Before I end, let me bring you in here and I will show you what it looks like inside. So here's the compost bin. This one does sit up a little bit above the ground. So you want to put it somewhere where you're not going to trip over it. There's air holes on top. There's a little handle. I'm going to open it up. Here's all my compost. My green waste, I mean. Excuse me. And that's a compostable bag. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid back on. It has pretty much a lock-proof lid. Let's see if I can get this locked up. The dirt is in the way, so I'll just kind of push it out of here. Okay. There we go. So there shouldn't be any animals that can take the lid off. It seems pretty secure. So the only question is, can the rats come and start chewing into this? So we will see. Today I got 2 in-ground worm composting bins put in place and loaded with green waste from our kitchen. Let's hope the rats don't find it. I have one more worm composter to bury, but I'm going to have to wait until I get another load of kitchen waste, kitchen scraps. I will make some follow-up videos. We'll watch these bins and I will let you know, I promise, if the rats find it or not. And if they don't, I will recommend these products for you. But if the rats come in, then I'm going to go back to square one and try figuring out what to do next. Any ideas you have, please post in the comments. We appreciate it. We love having you follow us and support our channel. We really, really, really want to help everyone grow green, be sustainable, be organic, eat healthy, and have fun in the garden. Thanks for watching.